On a quiet Sunday afternoon, Kristina was attacked on this London street by a group of young men. Physically bruised and emotionally shaken, she called the police, and that's when the lasting damage was done, at the hands of a senior detective who sexually harassed her, asking about her love life and whether she'd like to have dinner with him.
It felt like I had been a target yet again, and then I'd come into somewhere where I thought was a safety net, and it was just pulled from under me again. You know, I was bearing quite obvious physical evidence of being attacked. I had a black eye and a twisted wrist, or a black eye coming on. And he decided that it would be appropriate to come on to me.
She was interviewed alone at Kentish Town Police Station by DCI James Mason, the most senior officer there that evening.
But Kristina's ordeal didn't end within the walls of this building. Instead, DCI Mason sent her a number of messages using his official police email account. Messages that were unwanted, unprofessional and deeply inappropriate.
He said that I had taken the top spot as his favourite Camden victim of crime. So he offered to take photos of my injuries to put on record. But then obviously I was quite feisty at the time, and I wrote back saying, you know, you could get fired for this, what are you doing? And he said, you're probably right about that. And then he said, coming on to victims is positively encouraged. It's all part of the friendly face of the Met Police. It is the rejection that's frowned upon. I'm
shocked just listening to that.
Yeah, I think those words are what stayed with me. It's the rejection that's frowned upon. You know, a man comes onto you as you're walking home. If you reject him, what happens? What happens if you reject a police officer who, you know, is in a position of authority already? I think that's what sort of tainted my entire view of the police.
It took over a decade for Kristina to find the courage to report what happened. Only after the Me Too movement and revulsion at Sarah Everard's murder threw a spotlight on misogyny within the Met did she feel she had any chance of being taken seriously. So she contacted the police watchdog.
I was hoping for some justice to come of it. During the panel they said to me, we hope after this experience that you'll have trust again in the police. But he was found guilty of 8 counts of gross misconduct with a sexual motivation, and he kept his job, his rank, all of his benefits, his whole pension.
But what was taken from Kristina is still lost. 10 years on, she tells me she's never recovered her faith in the people meant to protect her.
How serious do you think the culture of misogyny in the Metropolitan Police in particular is?
It's absolutely ingrained in it. As far as I'm concerned, it obviously, I mean, if what I have seen and what I've experienced is the way in which the Met Police holds itself to account for its, you know, own failings, then it's not good enough. I certainly didn't ever consider calling the police again. As far as I was concerned, they were just as likely to harm me as, you know, any stranger on the street.
Leaving DCI Mason's career secure, but her safety net gone forever.
Well, Rachel, maybe I'm being naive to be shocked by this, but it is genuinely shocking, isn't it? What are the Met Police saying about it?
Well, the Met is now clear that there is a real need for it to change. A spokesperson has told us that any victim should have the confidence and the trust to come to the police and get the support and professionalism they'd rightfully expect. But of course, after such a dreadful year, that professionalism has never been under such scrutiny. And the real question is whether that change is coming quickly enough. That same spokesperson has pointed out that there is an independent review currently going on into the culture within the Met. And they say, too, that they are committed, and I quote, to creating an environment that is intolerant to those who don't uphold the high standards expected of us. But for Kristina, that particular sentence really jars with the decision to give DCI Mason only a final written warning. Now, because she's applied for a judicial review, the Met can't comment any further on that. We don't yet know whether that judicial review will be given permission or not. But Kristina decided to speak to us because she believes those at the top of the Met need to understand not just the extent of this crisis, but the extent of the consequences it's had and continues to have on so many women's ability to trust the police.